Welcome back.
What?
Never mind.
I thought it was gonna be smooth. Sorry.
Put a napkin on your camera. You're dead.
Get out of here. You know what? Borm.
What is happening?
Are we playing D&D?
No.
Nope. All right, folks.
Welcome
Let's
to
jump into
Settlers of
this
Catan.
On the 9th afternoon of Arwood Gloam, the Bitter Shadow, on a sundog. Ooh, this is a really intense song.
Ooh.
Last we met, the Wayward Five planned their departure from Varamalcia to take the Underdark path north to the Twilight Vale of Elysia. As they rested the night before, Scarlet found herself communicating with her brother, Reese. Reese brought her into a dream to communicate more effectively. But this dream was also meant to taunt her. He showed her the memory of their father, cold and dead on the floor of his forge. In their childhood home. He allowed her to ask him 3 questions. She asked about how he survived and how he beat the Pallid Mask. He spoke cryptically and about letting go, and how he wanted her to let go to succumb to her wants. He also spoke of how it felt to be wrapped up in that yellow cloak and to have the Pallid Mask placed upon him, about seeing the very mind of the Pallid King. Ultimately, he told her to come find him if she wanted to talk more, and promptly ruined her long rest. The next morning, the party found Ashk the Chained God had returned unexpectedly after Curon released him from the Gaius spell. The old god made it very clear that he did not like them, and he was not their friend. He was only here for a place to stay, definitely not their friend. But the 5 went about their morning, collecting the last bits of supplies and goods before a long journey through the Underdark. Over cinnamon rolls, they finalized their plan and decided to teleport to Driftmarch and enter the Underdark from the caverns below. Wiswick drew the proper runes for the portal, and before they knew it, the warmth of their Enduran villa shifted to the wet and frozen dark of the hidden caverns behind Driftmarch Falls, with the heavy footsteps of Kinsley's guards above. They quietly spied on these enemies and moved onward to the Zvirfneblin door. Along the way, they met an old friend, Zafra, the botched clone of the Archmage of the Spire. He told them the way had been shut and the gnomes no longer visited him. When they entered that dark doorway, they found the gnomish camps deserted with signs of struggle and capture. Scarlet found a strange oily liquid that shimmered opalescent and green. They descended deeper into Dwargar ruins, stealthily, until they spotted an impaled Zvirfneblin and the sounds of fire and laughter. Timber investigated this body and saw that it had a strange dagger in its chest, bleeding the same oily liquid. Wiswick and Scarlet investigated the laughter, where they found a withered old Mind Flayer laughing with his friend, an aging skeleton. Wiswick immediately cast banishment on this Mind Flayer, which caused a chain reaction where the impaled gnome was reanimated with this strange fluid. The gnome attacked Timber, and suddenly swarms of these animated corpses came rushing from a deeper cavern. These creatures were not undead, but rather the oily substance turned to solid wires, tubes, and constructed parts to take over the corpses. The party was quickly overwhelmed with dozens of these creatures, and in dire straits when now a Mind Flayer floated into the room to end this fight. It attempted to cast Finger of Death on Curon, but failed when Curon's glass titan armor absorbed the magic. Unaffected by this, the creature moved on to the next nearest foe, Wiswick. Understanding the power of the Wayward Five, it opted for a more powerful spell. Power word kill. The young Zvirfneblin returned to the Underdark. This young Zvirfneblin had returned to the Underdark only to fall to those dangers below. And that is where we left off. So, I am going to give Wiswick a chance to give some last words as the life leaves his body. Wiswick, you don't feel so good.
Oh my god, can I just do the Spider-Man thing? I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Mr. Curon. But the room seems to go still and quiet for a moment as you feel yourself slipping away. But you also feel some other presence beyond that you're almost being gently pulled through to. As you almost feel like your soul leaving your body. You have just one moment to say something as you look to your friends.
Who's closest to me right now?
Huron. Huron is right in front of you. Your friends are behind you.
So Kiran, you would see as like this. I mean, I guess the lights, the normal magical sparkles that you see in Wiswick's skin begin to dim, and his eyes glass over. You see he's looks like all the life is being drained from his body, and he's slowly like losing his strength as he tries to reach out for you. And he says, "You're on. I feel something strange. It's pulling me in. This feels different. I've never felt like this before. I wonder what will happen next." And then, he loses consciousness.
You see Wiswick's body goes limp, and right before it falls to the ground, it levitates up, as you can see the Mind Flayer's hand holding it and going like this to bring it closer. Go ahead.
If I may, Wiswick is floating through the air right now.
Yes.
Is it possible for Curon to reach out and grab him out of the air with like a reaction?
I would allow that.
Cool.
Go ahead and give me an athletics check.
$15.
That will do it. You see his body floating across, and the Mind Flayer's telekinetic grasp bringing it. But as this horde is clawing at your armor, you can see them ripping apart their own mechanical constructed parts on your armor. As you reach up, and you're able to grab Wiswick, and you feel the tug pulling it away from you, but you're able to break the magical telekinetic hold.
Right. Curon tucks him in behind his new +1 shield, and goes, "It's not time for you yet, little friend. Hold on just a little longer." So we've got a battle to...
And that's where we'll jump back into the
Yeah.
fight at hand.
He's really worried about losing him to just the space.
Yeah. Okay. So. Scarlet,
Yeah.
you're up.
Okay. Point of clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Did Curon use his reaction for this turn, or has everything reset because we're at the top of the order?
His reaction is reset at the top of his turn.
Okay. All right. Never mind. Well, first I'm going to use half my movement to stand up.
Sarathil, you're on deck, by the way.
And why am I looking at? I can look at this one. All right. The Bone Claw is the Mind Flayer, right?
No, the Mind Flayer is is this guy here with the little magic coming out of his tentacles coming
Okay.
out of his hand.
Okay. He's floating?
Yes. About 5 feet off the ground.
All right. So I have 15 feet left. Ugh, All right. Well, I'm going to shout to Kieran
Mhm.
as my free action. Drop the bag or throw me my dagger. And then for my action, I will just chuck a produce flame at it.
At the Mind Flayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead and give me that roll.
13.
It does not hit.
Yep. I think so. All right. I'm still raging, right? From last time.
No, because you fell unconscious.
Okay, then bonus action rage.
Okay.
And I'm done.
All right. Sarathil. Sarathil, this is one of your groups of skeletons.
Yep.
And I believe this is also.
Yes. Yes, it is. A person Mind Flayer?
Mind Flayer from you or the skeletons?
Me.
From you?
Kiss me.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 feet away.
Okay. Seeing the Wiswick go down, limpless corpse. So those can kind of like drop his jaw in a moment in like disbelief, but he'll snap back into it and will cast Finger of Death at it.
Right back at it.
Whoop whoop.
Okay.
Whoop whoop.
Constitution saving throw. So similar to how it was before, like going through the old tome, like a finger, like reading through it, but then like taking the finger and pointing it out, and like that black energy lightning shooting at it.
Okay. Its counterspell doesn't work.
Ooh boy! All right, hell yes.
So let me do the roll for its actual roll.
Sorry, I just assumed that my cell was gonna go.
It's okay. It's okay. It was close. It was only DC was a 17. We got a 15. Okay. It got for con. It got a dirty 20.
Oh, it just makes it.
So it will take half damage though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and roll the damage for that Figure of Death. As you see this, you could almost imagine the way I'm kind of flavoring this is like the counter spell doesn't quite fully work, but it does knock some of the energy out of the Finger of Death, almost like it knocks the beam backwards, and the beam has to reorient and then strike.
Right.
And it hits the creature in the chest, and you see now the creature suddenly, even though it doesn't take the full damage,
Right.
is much more. It was being very aloof about you all a moment ago, and now it's certainly noticed you a bit more.
58. So 29.
29? Okay.
Damn, that 30, 20. Boom.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Sarathil?
If there's anything else I can do. So.
Skelly boys?
Yeah. Okay, so there's one just chilling in front of me, and then
Yeah.
in between Scarlet and I.
Yep. That one has 2 skeletons. The other one has 4.
Yeah, I'll have the 2 skeletons now that Scarlet's back up. I guess move back into the fray.
Sure. They can come up to this guy right here and attack if you want.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and give me 2 skeleton attacks.
First one. is an 11, but it gets plus 5, so 16.
16 just misses.
Oh, jeez, on the mobs, damn.
Oh wait, no, that one is separated from its allies, so that one will actually hit.
Hell yeah.
Because they're just generally stronger when they're next to each other.
Right. Okay, so then it takes 6. I feel like I'm forgetting some. Oh, plus my proficiency as well. So 6 plus 2, which is 8, then another plus 6, which is 14 points of piercing damage.
14, nice. You watch as the skeletons rush forward, and together they sort of one kind of blocks with a shield to keep the husks at bay, and the other one cuts one down as you see it kind of collapse into this ichor. But the other there's still 5 husks within that cluster, and they all kind of cluster around and start attacking your skeletons.
Then second attack.
Yep.
13 plus 5 is 18.
That'll hit.
Yeah. All right. Then another 1d4, or sorry, 1d6. 5 is 13 points of piercing damage.
13?
Yep.
Nice. You see another one gets cut down as they're holding them back.
Beautiful.
All right, you have your other skeleton group that can attack that other.
Yeah, let's take 4 attacks.
Go for it.
First one's probably gonna miss. That's at 14.
That'll miss.
All right. Second. Yeah, 14 again.
Nope.
That one should hit. That one's 24.
Yep.
All right, then damage. 12 points piercing damage.
Okay.
And the last one. 18 to hit.
That'll hit.
Oh, no. No, I'm sorry. 15 to hit.
That will just hit since it's isolated from the other swarms.
Sweet. And then that will be 11 points piercing damage.
Hell yeah. As you cut down 2 of the husks within this swarm, your skeletons are kind of like working together to hold them back and protect each other. They kind of get into a square cluster so that they can fight them off as they're hoarding all around them.
Yes.
All right. I believe that's everything for you, Sarathil.
That should be everything. Yep. I can't do anything else.
All right. Huron, you're up. Timber, you're on deck.
Fantastic. All right. First thing I'd like to do is the armor radiates necrotic energy 5 feet around me.
Go ahead and roll the damage for that.
It's not going to do much to them. It's more just to remember. 3 necrotic damage.
Okay, that is...
And I guess I do need to make a Constitution saving throw. Something I neglected. And that's a 9.
So Moonbeam goes down.
So Moonbeam goes down.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And you take that 3 points of damage as well.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That's. Okay. Then what we're gonna start with is we're going to activate the Staff of the Crescent Heart. Fog of the Moon up in here. So everything within 60 feet of me needs to make that con saving throw, DC 20.
Actual fog in there.
Ooh, nice.
Con save, you said?
Yes, please. No, yes. Constitution saving throw, DC 20.
Okay. The Mind Flayer got a 21.
Good for him.
The let's see. One group of zombies succeeds. Next group fails. Third succeeds. Fourth fails. 5th fails. 6th succeeds. Oh wait, no, fails. 3rd well, the next one fails too. And then fails. So most of the swarms failed.
Okay.
Oh, and then the cave giant. Cave giant got a fails with an 18 because you said 20, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to make a point of note.
Mm-hmm.
The second Mind Flayer has reappeared, correct?
That is true. Yes.
Is he within 60 feet of me?
I'm pretty sure he is. Let me see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Yep, he's 35 feet away from you.
All right, gang. I need thumbs up, thumbs down. Do I damage him or not? All right.
So that's
I-
two no, 1 yes, and 1 abstain.
Excuse
So,
me.
no
The person that said
damage.
yes is dead. So
Yeah.
You see
Alright,
Wismic's
so-
corpse just go.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Can that be it? Can that be canon? I wish it was canon.
You weren't going into any liquid.
Okay.
I mean, it's
so-
probably in lava if you want that.
So not damaging the second Mind Flayer.
Okay.
And that's 20 points of radiant damage to those that fail, half to those that succeed.
All right. Let me do that real quick.
Thank you.
Okay. Why don't you describe what this looks like while I'm calculating all this?
Of
Ooh.
course. So most of the party has seen this before, where Kieran, he's got his one hand on his staff, and he just raises it up and just smashes it down through the husks. And when it connects with the floor, you hear this loud, kind of like a gong, but like more peely, a little higher pitched in its note, as the top of his staff just erupts in this dark, violet fog that descends out of it and flows throughout the room, creating this large 60-foot area. And then he strikes his staff down once more, and just a flash of silver light shoots through it, and all those creatures affected take this radiant damage as it strikes them.
Oh, cool.
Yep. It's pretty fucking awesome.
So cool.
And everything is heavily obscured for them, so they're gonna have disadvantage
Yes.
on attacks, and also can't attack if you move from your spot that you're in.
Correct.
So anything else, Kieran?
And then since that's not actually a spell, Kieran is going to raise his hand up. He lets go of his staff for a moment to raise his hand up, kind of like he's pointing his finger up to the heavens, and then just clenches it into a fist and just shouts out. I didn't prepare a word.
Die. Sorry, that's not very divine.
Twilight, but in Elven, so it's like
Yeah.
Iluvania, basically. And he casts Divine Word. So all the creatures within 30 feet of me need to make a Charisma saving throw, DC 20.
Oh, I forgot there was a saving throw part of it. I thought it just happened. I was like,
I mean, we can play it that way if you want.
No.
Of course.
No.
Of course.
The good thing that Mind Flayer used its reaction already.
Yeah, right.
The Mind Flayer succeeds with a. What kind of saving throw was it?
Charisma. So I assume.
He got a 23.
Yeah.
I have a feeling these other guys, they're not going to be that good at this.
You don't
See,
say.
Cave Giant fails.
Nice.
Let's see. That is they fail. This one succeeds actually with a natural 20. This one.
So for a little
Actually, no, it doesn't
retcon, he
succeed.
just says the word "Yukale."
There we go.
It's a little. It's a little
If you needed time to look something up, I could.
of course.
This one would have succeeded if it didn't have a -2 modifier.
Woof. You saying it's got a natural 20?
No, it got a 19.
Oh.
Which means like if it had any kind of modifier. That one fails with a,
Right.
with a 0. One fails with a 7.
Damn.
One well, they're not charismatic creatures. They have a -2 to charisma. They
That's
should have a
fair.
minus like 10 to
That's funny.
charisma.
To be fair,
Um,
Kieran's not that charismatic either.
Okay, so only one, only the Mind Flayer and one swarm succeeded.
All
So
right.
go ahead and let me know what the effects are again.
All right, so if they have 20 hit points or fewer, they're killed instantly. I'll go ascending. 30 hit points or fewer, they're blinded, deafened, and stunned for 1 hour.
Okay.
If they're at 40 hit points or fewer, they're deafened and blinded for 10 minutes. And 50 hit points or fewer, they're deafened for 1 minute, but really, that doesn't matter for constructs.
What was
I mean,
the
it
last one
does.
again?
50 or fewer is deafened for a minute.
Okay. And what about if they have more than 50?
Nothing.
Okay.
I assume it doesn't actually.
Well, if they're a fiend or fae or something, that's something
Oh
else.
right, yeah, that's
But-
true.
Yeah, well,
If
The construct-
they're
these are constructs and
celestial,
aberrations.
elemental, fae, or fiend, they're forced back to its plane of origin.
So these would not be affected by that
Right.
because they're constructs. But based on the way I'm ruling this for the swarms,
Mm-hmm.
please tell me what it looks like when every single swarm dies. Oh wait,
Yes!
except for the one that succeeded, they're alive.
Right.
Damn,
Exactly.
sir.
So it's like, so Kieran just did this fog of the moon, the light emanated out and hit all of them, and he kind of looks around for a moment, still clutching Wiswick very tightly to his chest, shielding, literally with a shield between Wiswick and any enemy, Kieran's body protecting him from the other side. Kieran just raises his hand up, clenches it down, says the word that I already forgot, Yukale, and it's just like no sound. Actually, that's the thing, is it goes totally silent. There's no sound whatsoever for a moment, as it's just like this faint ripple shoots out. Because this divine word is so powerful, it overpowers everything else on this plane of existence for that one moment. And all those creatures that were affected just into starlight.
Okay. So that exactly happens. It almost looks like a strong breeze rushes through this space, and you can see kind of like the fog twists and clears a little bit as you can see all of these creatures just turn to starlight ash as they burn away. Absolutely insane. Wild move. Wild turn. It's actually a really good thing that Sarathil did some weakening there, and your moon, fog in the moon, brought a lot of them below half health.
The more damage we could get out before it was my turn, the more we
Yeah.
could lower everyone, the better, because it's just
Because there was some,
work.
like, before your turn, all of them had, only one of them had less than half health. But after your turn, all of them, or right before you cast it, all of them had half health, except for one succeeded, and that's the only reason it's alive. Some of them had, like, a good chunk of them had less than 20 hit points, actually. And just would have died even if we were doing rules as written.
fantastic.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Kieran reaches down, grabs his... What's that you just put down?
It's Wiswick.
Oh, okay. Grabs his bag of holding and tosses it back to Scarlet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, yes. He's going to move. No. Yes, he's just going to toss it.
Okay.
Trying to decide whether it makes more sense. But. No.
Well, you can think about it while Timber goes.
So
Well, otherwise it would be me moving, so we'll just say I stay there, toss it back. Sorry,
Okay.
we're good. End turn. scene.
Timber, you're up.
So everything's supposed to happen in 6 seconds. So prior to that, Timber would have, after kind of winding down from his wolf high, he's going to see Wiswick floating in the air, dead, and he's gonna be wide-eyed, and then for like a second or two, and then jolt his focus towards the Mind Flayer. I'm gonna do some monk things, and Wiswick. God, I'm not Wiswick. Timber is going to get on all fours, run towards the wall adjacent to the Mind Flayer, and then do some monk shit and fucking wall run. If you want me to run, do acrobatics, I can, and just.
I think you could just do that at this.
Actually, you're right. I can just do that.
Yeah,
you're right.
No roll necessary.
Yeah, and I'm gonna jump off the wall and punch this Mind Flayer in the face.
Do it.
I will. Watch me.
Do it.
Watch me. It's a 22.
That will hit. Oh god.
It's 13 damage, and if you could roll a stunning Constitution saving throw for me, that would be greatly appreciated. While I make another attack. This one also hits. The second attack is a 30.
Yes, fuck them up.
And that's
What kind of roll was it again?
Constitution? Yeah.
Yeah, they succeed with a 27.
Okay, alright, and the second one?
Is the second one also going to be stunning?
Yes.
That one they don't succeed with the 13.
Woo!
Damn.
Oh, I got really lucky there.
No monk shit.
And that one, the other, so that's a total of 25 damage. 13 last one, and then the second attack was 12.
Okay.
I like to imagine that I first punch to the face, and then jump on his body as he falls down, and then punch him one more time. And then my bonus action is I'm gonna blink the fuck out of there.
Okay.
Back to where I started.
Definitely. So this guy is definitely fall into the ground, no longer
Sorry.
hovering.
Quick question.
Sure.
The cave giant.
Yes.
What effects are he under,
Deafened.
if any?
Deafened.
Okay, just deafened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that is my turn.
Okay. So, luckily, the Mind Flayer loses its turn because you just stunned it.
Ooh, boy.
Baby.
Truly.
Truly lucky.
Moment. Yeah. Because it was about to use a Mind Blast on you all. Which would have potentially stunned you guys.
Ooh.
Okay. So in that sense, we got a swarm that is there that's going to attack Curon. That swarm is at a third capacity, so it only has 2 attacks. And it doesn't have advantage anymore because there's no other swarms. That is a 19 to hit, which does not hit because you've got big ol' armor.
Yeah.
And then last does not hit. So you watch as these feeble husks that are just on the last leg of their energy because they've been drained from them by your fog and your divine word are just slapping your armor essentially. Like some of them, they've scratched so vigorously against your armor that they have nothing but stubs that they're hitting you with now, as the hands have been shredded. And the cave giant is just going to lumber forward and go for some attacks on you, Curon. Okay. It's got 2 hand axe, or it's big axe. Okay, so that is a 2 24s actually, so both of those hit. And then the last attack is with its husks, which is a 30, so that will hit. But these are non-magical attacks, so they are going to be halved for you because of your armor. Except for the acid damage.
Right. Which could still.
Okay, so that is that's 26 bludgeoning.
Is that's not halved, right?
That's not halved.
Okay.
3 acid for the first attack. Second attack. 15 bludgeoning, that's not halved. 3 acid. Last attack with the tusks. $25 slashing damage, not halved, with 4 acid damage. And you need to make a strength saving throw.
Natural 20.
Okay, you are not knocked prone then.
I am.
I'm at
Mine-
3 health for those that are
Oh.
3 health.
It's a good thing that none of those
Oh,
attacks from the swarm went off. then,
yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
'cause those would have
Jeez.
done.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Help me!
I'm coming.
I imagine like Scarlet or Kieran has just been like hammered into the ground and he like turns back to like Scarlet, Timber, and Sarathil like, help me.
It's like the glass titan armor is like spotless, but you
Right,
inside
but
of just
Kieran
like
is
burned. Yeah, like just absolutely wrecked. Because it's just like as if someone like put you inside a can and it was like, this will protect you, and then they just shook the can.
Right.
All right. That is the baddie's turn, because there's no more, at least within
Yeah, I
the
see
current
those.
ranges of things.
I
What?
see those 2 back there.
I did not roll a 5 or a 6 for them to come join the fight, so at least got one more round without them. You do notice, Kieran, as you're kind of like the tusks come out of your armor, like, because I imagine they got like stuck in your armor, and then maybe it like lifted you up a little, but then you fell out of them, but you were able to keep your stance. You do notice out of the corner of your eye that other Mind Flayer is now himself floating and coming towards you,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not looking at you. It's looking at the other Mind Flayer.
Mm.
It doesn't do anything this turn. It's just sort of oriented itself after coming back from some other place, and it's just entered the fight in the sense that it is entered the battlefield. And is just scanning it right now, but particularly looking at the other Mind Flayer. All right, back to the top, Scarlet.
What's it gonna cost me to reach in and get my dagger out to the bag of holding?
I think it's a free action.
I'd like to do that. And actually, so what's going to happen is as I'm reaching into the bag of holding to get my dagger and my hand closes around it and the living armor starts crawling up my arm, I'm going to use my other hand to take out the prongs of the black and use my bonus action to speak the command word so that I can activate it. And then I will move up. Let's see. I want to damage this Mind Flayer, so I want to move up within 10 feet because I don't want to be directly in melee, but I have reached now. So, and then I'm going to.
Your
With
attacks
prongs
have
of luck.
advantage because it's stunned.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
Well, first one is 17.
That just hits.
Good. Sneak it. Whoop! I rolled the wrong thing. Ignore that.
Oh, yeah, because it's stunned, you get sneak attack.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
So, 9 points of bludgeon. Nope. Of so many weapons. Slashing damage and sneak
You're talking about
attack.
the prongs of the black, right?
Uh-huh.
Roll the acid
there's
damage
the-
too for that.
Yep. Where the fuck is my sneak attack? There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 15 sneak attack, and then the D6 acid.
Yep.
Okay. 6. 6
Shan,
acid. Uh-huh.
don't forget that you have a nice feature called Wails from the Grave.
Oh, you could deal more damage.
I do. I could, just not on that one.
Yeah, you.
It's the sneak attack is on something that's not the one I'm currently attacking.
Yeah.
Is it also is it just a free action or does it cost something?
It says no
I think
action.
it just happens. Yeah.
It just
Nice,
happens. Yeah.
nice.
So
So you
yes.
can hit the swarm or you can hit the giant, I think, with that.
Let's hit the swarm and get rid of it. Maybe.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage and let me know what this looks like.
Okay, so that's 12 points. It's necrotic. So what does it look like? All right, so I've got the armor is coming over my body, and the sword is out, and I've just reached out towards the Mind Flayer and hit it, and as it comes back, I kind of just like look in the direction of the swarm and just like stare at it, and one of those the
chains.
Yeah. Those come out now because I have the armor on, and I just stare at it and just kind of like will it to happen, and there's just like this like crimson black smoky air or smoke that happens and just shoots towards the swarm.
I have asthma.
Miasma.
That's what one of the that's what one of the husks say as they die.
They don't die.
No.
You said it's 12 necrotic?
Yep.
They are resistant to necrotic,
Yeah,
so.
I figured. So am I.
And this one actually does still have quite a chunk of health. It's not a lot of health, but a chunk.
Well, I took it down a little bit.
Okay. Anything
Yeah.
else, Scarlet?
Believe that's it.
Sarathil, you're up.
Good damage. Good damage.
How's this guy looking?
The Mind Flayer's looking rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a tickle of death? Do you?
No, but I have something almost as good. I'm just gonna go out
Fist
again.
of death, not finger of death.
No. Yes, fist of death. That's level 9.
Okay. All right, what are you using on it?
I'm gonna go spell slot level 5, and go blight.
Blight, nice.
Blight him.
Is he a plant?
No. Although that would be interesting if Mind Flayers were just like space plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's space plant aliens or something. I don't know.
What kind of saving throw is it?
Constitution.
Okay, so it does actually still get to do its saving throw.
Those are vines, not tentacles.
Yeah, exactly.
It succeeds with 27.
What an ass. I
Does it deal half damage?
Yeah, it still does half damage. I just want him to die.
Die.
19, and that's halved. It was 38.
Okay. How do you want to do this?
Yes!
I turn him into a plant with polymorph.
I take it like as he's still kind of recuperating from being fucking monk stunned. And as he's coming to, like he'll feel like numbing in his body as like he just kind of like looks at his hands or whatever, and they start to like just shrivel. Into like where he looks like he's getting mummified from like the inside out, and like he just like becomes like petrified as he just stands there, like all the moisture's been taken out of him.
Ooh.
And as it attempts to stand and levitate again, you watch it falters, and you see it actually does like fall, and it's like the skin cracks brittly, and almost like a really, really good autumn leaf that you step on, as it just then collapses into the ground into pieces.
It's dead.
It's dead.
Is it a humanoid?
It's an aberration.
A Mind Flayer is an aberration? It's not a humanoid creature?
No.
Does it still count as a creature?
It still counts as a creature.
I want to use my reaction and take a soul trinket.
Ooh. Look into the memories of this Mind Flayer. See into the hive mind.
Yeah.
Get lost in it.
Aberration.
Yeah.
But it has
I'm-
legs. Sorry.
What But it looks like it's the shape of a human. Those tentacles make it an aberration. But what happens though when the Mind Flayer dies? The husks don't stop, but you can almost feel like the density of the air gets lessens. But then is absolutely replaced by a new density as you see that other Mind Flayer comes in.
Oh no.
And as it's moving towards the other Mind Flayer that's now a corpse, you can see it's repelling the husks. Almost like an invisible barrier is around it. And as it touches the husks, you see the green light on them shimmers to a soft silver blue. And then they run away back into the hole. As that Mind Flayer comes in. You see this big boy squeezes his way back in. As combat is ended.
Kieran
He's-
immediately reaches into his bag, pulls out the 3 diamonds, equaling 300 gold pieces worth of diamonds. And he casts Revivify on Wiswick.
Before you do that,
Sure.
Wiswick,
What?
the sounds of the dungeon fade away. And you feel that same feeling you started to feel as you said goodbye to Kieran. Your vision had faded to black, but then burst into magnificent colors and hallucinations. As if your mind has been flooded with overwhelming hallucinogenic drugs.
Whoa.
It looks like
Whoa.
space and time are passing your mind. And you can almost see...
I'm just screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine.
Ah!
As you see weaves of magic, and for a moment you are seeing like a vista of the universe. And you can see amalgams of shadow in certain places, amalgams of light. It's almost a physical representation of the twin pillar theory of the cosmos. And you're seeing it like a web of planes of existence that are like bubbles that then have these strands that connect them to the other ones. And you feel yourself being pulled away from that at rapid speed. It's disappearing. It's as if you're going faster than the speed of light and everything is disappearing behind you because the light can't keep up with you.
Do I have like faculties, like my body?
You do, but it's the pressure you're under is so overwhelming that you can't move.
Yeah,
And-
I think that like I instinctively like fight to like reach for, my spell book to like, document what I'm seeing, and it's not there, and I'm just like, I just look down and then I like look up straight into it and just like head into whatever I'm heading towards.
And you feel your body start to slow down as you look around and there's starless void all around you. But then suddenly, very quickly, almost like as if the concert lights are being turned on, you start to see shapes. And then suddenly you feel yourself floating gently now. And almost as if you went from one step of a dream to the next. You're in a space again, an environment. Like, you didn't see the transition. It's just one moment your brain, it's like there's a jump cut in your brain. And suddenly you're floating amongst a badland wasteland of orange sand and rock with a purple sky of storm and cloud above. An overwhelming heat, as you can see a sun that is far too close to the world you're on. An overwhelming heat burns your skin. You feel yourself, it's taking every ounce of your intelligence, of your mind, of your soul, to keep your soul together, and to keep yourself Wiswick. As you can feel this, not only a current pulling your soul almost, but you feel an overwhelming desire to let go. But Wiswick is a master of the weaves. Suddenly, everything shifts again. You're floating higher over this vista. And your body slowly turns, and you look. You see jagged peaks. Almost like a porcupine barricade. These jagged spires sticking out of the rock, orange. But these ones are singed black, as if by the heat of that sun. And you can see even God rays coming down and hitting these jagged peaks through the purple clouds, like attacks from the heavens. And you look as your eyes follow the God ray of God, you land on a figure in front of you. Arms held up aloft, chained. You look left and right, you can see on each of these spires is a figure held aloft in chains, bound to the rock, being burned by this sun. As you're floating closer to this creature, you can see it has the gray skin of the Zerfneblin. Its head hangs low, hair, a bush of hair all around this silvery color, like your Spearfneblins. A shimmer across the singed skin. They are naked and withering away upon this rock. Their body, basically, a husk.
Wiswick, his eyes are squinting. He's holding his hand up to try and cover the rays of the sun as it burns down on him, and he grits his teeth at the pain of the just being here, like the pull on his soul as well as the sweltering heat. And he looks towards the figure and says, "You! I finally found you! My diamond in the rough! Noltegra, do you hear me?"
There's a long silence. This creature has given in to much of its fate. You see to your right a creature struggling against their chains. A withered, emaciated orc. You look to the left and you see a raven attempting to pull itself away from the walls, its feathers all singed down to the bone. Noldegra slowly talks as if he's not spoken in thousands of years, and his voice crumbles out of his mouth. Noldegra. And the head lifts. You can see this gray, pocked skin. These two eyes slowly open to scintillating white diamond light. And you can see in his chest is a sliver of a diamond, clearly missing its other pieces. And you feel as soon as those eyes come upon you, you hear a chorus of voices in your head calling your name. Wiswick, Wiswick, Pilgrim, Yellen, Jedri, Bedri, Wiswick. Thousands and thousands and thousands of voices of Svirfneblin.
Why do they keep forgetting the far light part?
And you feel an overwhelming sense of you're being pulled in, your soul.
Wiswick's gonna resist until he floats close enough to Noldegra. Like, he's trying his best to hold himself together as he realizes that he has the chained god's attention, and even if it's the last thing that he does, he wants to get up face to face with this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you feel, and like you can even see if you look down at your hands, like you could see like just wisps of your essence being pulled off and pulled into those white eyes as your body slowly comes closer until you're like maybe 10 feet from Noldegra's face. And now you can see the titanic size of him. In that his face takes up your entire field of vision. He is a titan, truly.
Wiswick, as he gets like closer to him and he starts dwarfing in size to this like monstrous figure, he like looks up to it with awe in his eyes, and then that same like happiness that he felt before slowly turns into bitterness, and he looks at this weak, decrepit monstrosity and says, I don't know what you're doing, but why you're like this, but you left us. You gave up on your people. I searched everywhere for you. You left me. Just if you can't do anything, I understand. You've been here for so long. Just tell me why. Why'd you leave us? Why couldn't you do more? What's your excuse?
You see the Titan. You see one of the arms is hanging from. You see it brings one arm down and holds onto the rock to lift himself as much as he can, weakly. You can see like the way he moves, like you can hear the flesh crack and blister from the heat of the sun as it hits a hand down and like lightning clap when it hits. That's how large he is. And you see the other hand. And as it just has a pointed finger coming towards you, you hear another clap of lightning as the it clambers the chains themselves, and you can hear it pummeling out into this wasteland and echo into the nothingness as this finger is basically a couple feet from your face, this massive gray-skinned finger, as you hear the voice crackle. Little Noldo. You are here too. You are me. As it points at the diamond in its chest.
Wiswick still bitter, says, "You don't understand. Maybe one time I was you. But now, while you were gone, we grew to fend for ourselves, and I am my own man, gnome. I control the weaves of magic. I can change things. You might be all powerful, but if I'm a part of you, then I'm the right part." And at that point, Wiswick's going to feeling his soul like slip away. He's gonna give in and reach out towards the diamond in the middle of the creature's chest.
As you pull closer to the diamond, your mind is overwhelmed with knowledge as you feel the entirety of these Zvirfneblin's racial consciousness enter your mind. Every Zvirfneblin that has ever passed on to rejoin Noldo's mind, you have all of their memories flooding into your brain, all the way back to the day that the Zvirfneblin were ushered into the Underdark to protect them.
For once in his life, Wiswick's gonna fight against the power that's being flushed into him. He wants to ignore the knowledge, and he's still trying, even though he already let his brain slip to the last second. He keeps saying, "My name is Wiswick Bilgrew Farlight Yellen Jedry Pedry Netherrock. My name is Wiswick Bilgrew Farlight Yellen Jedry Pedry Netherrock. I'm going to fix you!"
As you're doing this, you would hear Noel deGrasse say, "When you grow, I grow. When you despair, I despair. I am Zvirfneblin." As you are pulled to the diamond, and as your hand touches it, as you're declaring your individual mind, you feel it all at once dissipate. And perhaps you continue to fight this, but you have been re-assimilated into Null deGra's mind. And perhaps Wiswick is still there. But
We'll never know. How many dice do I have to roll, Sean?
That's where we're going to take a break. All right, folks. We will be back in 5 minutes. Stick around with us, and we will continue this adventure. We'll see you all very soon.
You're live. Hi, guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Advantage in Paradise. Our heroes just defeated the Mind Flayer, although at a great cost, as Wiswick has died. And we just saw Wiswick's confrontation with his god, Noldegra. And we saw what seemed like his mind assimilating into the mind of Noldegra, though resisting. But Wiswick, you do feel that final dissipation of... my phone fell. Final dissipation of your mind. You're still there, but you're suddenly part of a greater whole. And like I said, although you're resisting it, you are flooded with memories and knowledge. You can actually, for a moment, see through the eyes of the golem, just for an instant, and you see your friends huddled around your body. Before you feel all sense of agency start to peel away from you. And you see a long resistance ahead of you to reclaim your independence and individuality. Back in the room. What are you doing?
Kieran is casting Revivify on Wiswick. I imagine the 30 gold pieces of diamonds he has are 3 separate diamonds that he places in between his fingers. Then he takes his hand, Wiswick still like cradled on his shield. He casts the spell and basically stabs his hand into Wiswick, going to reach for his soul to pull him back into his body.
Very cool.
Love it.
Thank you.
I thought you were just gonna put the diamonds in my mouth.
For a second, I thought so
Just
too.
feed it.
Like grapes off your fingers?
There you
Yeah,
go, buddy.
pull your
Eat
teeth
up.
out and then put diamond in.
This is
Oh,
what you wanted for your last meal, right? We had that talk around the campfire.
You feel the magic flow through your hand into the diamonds, and they do start to glitter with moonlight. As you can see thin strands of soul coming off of the body, as if what you're trying to do happens. You see those strands flutter up and swirl in front of you, and then wisp away towards the golem. It seemed to fade into the heart of the arcane core.
What's happened? Did it work?
The diamonds are still there.
Okay. No, but
What do you mean it didn't work?
Kieran just lowers his hand. Diamond's still clenched, and Wiswick's still cradled in his arm. But he just kind of like numbly walks towards Noldo.
This entire time this is happening, Timber has ink swell out, and he's staring, and he's like standing in front of Kieran and Wiswick's body, staring at the other Mind Flayer,
Yeah. And you see that the Mind Flayer...
like ready to attack him.
Yeah. And you see it's...
Dawn.
Yeah.
Sorry. At what point during this did I see them? Because, like, if there
I'd
was
say-
a point where,
Yeah. I'd say you
I could,
see
like,
them
reach
as
out.
Kieran is walking towards you. Towards the golem. You see him carrying your body.
So, Kieran, you would hear Noldo talk in Wiswick's voice, except like a gravelly version of it. And he would just be like, "Hello, Kieran Illististania." Because that's why Wiswick taught Noldo to say it like that. So,
Oh my god, you're playing the golem?
Kieran's dumbfounded. He's just mouth agape, still like slowly like just walking towards Noldo, you know, hand still just holding Wiswick and the diamonds, just staring.
You see those orange eyes of the golem looking down at you.
Don't fear for me. I'm going someplace for a while.
Where are you going? We need you, Wiswick. I need you. Here. Now.
Going to make everything better. I am Noldegrod now. Wiswick is gone.
I find that very hard to believe. A spirit that powerful is hard to calm.
Master Netherrock will never be lost. He is now one with his people. He has become the power that he seeks. You shall meet again.
Well, then I look forward to that time. Until then, he was our guide down here. Will you still help us with Noldegra? Noldo?
Noldo. I am Noldo. Noldo.
And he keeps saying the words Noldo. And as he keeps repeating it, you hear the Wiswick's voice fade away. And it sounds more like the golem's own voice.
Noldo. And then you see the golem almost seems to snap out of something. And you see it almost does like a... It doesn't say anything, but it just reaches its hands down. It nestles Wiswick's body from your shield, Curon, and cradles it. Wiswick Bilgru. Yellen.
Farlight.
Idri. Farlight. We are not done with our journey. And you see one cradled in one arm just sort of pokes Wiswick's chest. Wiswick.
Noldo, aren't you were just you were just speaking in his voice. Are you? He said he was becoming one with Noldegra, with you, I thought.
I am Noldegra. I am Wiswick. But I do not feel Master Netherrock. I do not feel my connection.
He was just here within you a moment ago. His spirit joined you. He said he was going somewhere, but he would return to make things better. Do you know what that means?
I may know in time. My sentience is young in this cycle. The memories may return. Like Master Netherrock. If he's to return, I will wait.
He will return. He said so, and there's one thing I've learned. Wiswick, though in his own way, always keeps his word.
You see Noldo stands up and starts walking towards the hole where the husks were coming out of. I must bring him back home immediately. Immediately, I must bring him back home.
Wait, Noldo, slow down. One moment. Gang, Kieran says as he's like starting to run after Noldo and like pull him back.
And you can see as he's he's like dragging you with him. I must bring him home. He must go home. He must go home. Wiswick, Master Netherrock.
Yep. Well, we do need to go home. One moment though, please. Hold on.
And you see he stops and turns to all of you.
Timber, I was standing with you, watching the other Mind Flayer approach, just kind of like looking between the two things.
And you see Noldo just sits down, holding the body of Wiswick. Quiet.
I apologize, but can you just give me a quick recap of what happened?
They heard Wiswick's voice through the golem. He said that he's one with Noldegra now, and that he's going somewhere. He's going to try to make things better, and that he will be back. And then the golem's voice returned to its own, and it essentially started to have somewhat of a mental breakdown over Wiswick's dead body.
You gotcha. Okay, so Kieran didn't cast Revivify, or he did. This is what happened.
He did, and this is what happened. Yeah. And the golem just sits there and cradles the dead body of Wiswick, staring at it.
What's that other Mind Flayer doing?
Just floating there right now, watching.
Yeah. Scarlet and I are just trying to keep him at bay during all this.
Yeah.
Hasn't said anything. Hasn't done anything.
Nope.
Timber's still being on edge, not paying attention to the whole Wiswick situation, assuming that Kieran kind of has it taken care of. Looks over at the Mind Flayer. Can you talk? Why haven't you attacked us yet?
You shouldn't have banished me. You hear that voice kind of... It sounds like it's coming from it physically, but also sounds like it's in your heads.
It wasn't my decision. It was...
You see it holds an arm up and points over to the hole in the wall. It says, my psionic field is the only thing keeping those creatures from this chamber. When you banished me, they awoke.
Oh. You're not like the other. There was mind flayers in there. Like, you're... I'm not that all mind flayers are the same, just...
Most illithid are the same. In fact, most illithid are the same mind. But they rejected me. I was sent here a long time ago. When I finished my job, I was stranded here. There's me and Douglas over there. And he points over and you see the skeleton just sort of falls. The head rolls off. Oh, Douglas, pull yourself together.
What did you say your name was?
My name. Callisto. And you see it just starts to float back to its camp.
Looking between Noldo and the Illithid, Kieran's kind of like, Allisto, you said your name was?
It sort of slowly turns back. Callisto.
Is that a Callisto or a...
Yep, Callisto.
Okay, Callisto. Callisto. What, those creatures that we just fought back there, what were those things?
As far as I know, some kind of new construct within the Illithid Empire. Nothing I knew.
I'm sorry, you said Empire.
Yes.
An empire down here in the Underdark.
If you have so many questions, why don't you come and enjoy a hot meal? And he points
Geraint
towards the
looks
fire.
To his companions, like, yeah.
Are we just going
With
to leave?
Wiswick?
Well, with Noldo.
Huron,
There's no
where is
response.
he?
He's just sort of holding Wiswick's body still.
Wiswick is doing what Wiswick does best. His own thing. I think it's a phase. I hope it's a phase.
He gone?
Phase? A phase?
He's a teenager. He'll grow out of it.
Even in
No,
death.
I'm dead!
It's like it's when he went into the Spire. He'll be back. He said he will be back.
Are you sure?
I trust in Wiswick. I don't always like the things he does, and I don't like this one bit, but I trust him, and he said he'll be back. I don't quite understand these deep gnomes and their gods and their golems, but it seems like they're all connected somehow, right?
Is there any way we can keep his body pure? Sarathil, do you have any means of...
Not reanimating him.
Not reanimating.
Sarathil, who during this entire time is kind of like just looking at the Mind Flayer, like I guess kind of like in awe. He's like, "Oh, this creature is very interesting." I feel like, and he's not attacking us. This is wonderful. But turning back, yes, Wiswick's body. I have an incantation to get. Keep it from decaying. And so they will go to the golem and lay his hands on Wiswick and cast the spell that does the thing that I'm looking up the name for right now.
Gentle repose.
Gentle repose.
To repose.
Gentle repose. Thank you.
And while that's happening, Timber is going to take some of the lengthy rope that he got from the explorer packs and make a strap for the golem to carry Wiswick's body.
Make a little baby born.
Little baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wiswick's corpse.
Unfortunately, it's not a bush to put the baby, but it's honestly the proper
The next
burial
best
for
thing. for
yeah.
sure.
As you do that, Noldo doesn't seem to move the entire time. For a moment, you even think he might have disconnected. But the light still goes on the crystal. You might even have expected him to completely crumble when Wiswick died. But because Wiswick empowered him before his death, he's able to sustain himself.
Now, so at this, Kieran will kind of approach him and go, Noldo, we need to speak with that creature for a moment, but we will join you on your journey back to Wiswick's home. Does that sound okay?
The head moves up and looks at you. Deep well of orange light that are these eyes. Yes. Wiswick, Bilgru, Farlight, Yellen, Jedri, Pedri, Netherrock. Considered you friends. You are Noldo's friends. Noldo will help. Master Netherrock's friends until he comes back.
Thank you, Noldo, and we'll help you in what you need done. But for now, let's see what this creature has to tell. An empire under the ground does not bode well for us, especially if they're using that kind of magic.
Yes. Or we'll
And
watch
Kieran
Master
kinda, like-
Netherrock's body.
Yeah, Kieran like just kind of awkwardly pats him on the arm, like, and turns to the group and goes, "Do any of you know anything about these creatures?"
Did I get anything from the trinket?
Just what their skull looks like. Oh, that trinket. No, I was
Just
thinking
the soul
your,
trinket.
you can take a look into it if you want.
I don't know if I'm in
Up
a
to you.
mindset to do that right now. I'll
Just
ask
do
the
a
group.
general Arcana check,
Sure.
or history, or whatever.
Kieran,
History.
I took its soul. I can look if you want.
You. Oh,
On.
right.
It was an 18, but I'm using a knowledge from the past.
Ooh. It's up
Just-
to you.
Honestly, I don't think I should do it right now.
Okay, we'll keep that in our back pocket.
Which is 24, Sean.
You've never even heard of an illithid.
Oh,
They're not common knowledge on the surface. They're barely common knowledge in the Underdark. They're more myth. Which is what Wiswick told you before, when he first told you what could potentially have dragged off the Seer of Neblin. He said, could be mind flayers, but they're legends. They've never been seen.
So Kieran starts to head towards the campfire and goes, I can't be certain, but that looked a little like Carcery magic. If they've infiltrated down here, we're gonna need a lot more allies.
Wait. Oh, I thought you went to the campfire. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
okay.
so he's walking towards the campfire, like saying
Got
this
it.
to the group, being
Got
like,
it.
all right, let's
Gotta
gotta
get it.
get info.
That makes more sense. I thought you were
My
going by
apologies.
yourself, and I was like, who are you talking
No.
to? Are you talking to the Mind Flayer?
Hey, sorry, Douglas.
Yeah.
Can I dismiss the prongs and the
Yep.
living armor?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say as Timber is walking away, he's going to actually like try to hide some of like his wet fur tears.
Do I see that? If I do, I want to hold your hand.
You trying to hide it?
Yeah, no, Timber would hide it. Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand versus your perception.
I just want to know if
Passive or
Sherman sees it.
active?
Technically, it would be passive.
Yeah, do you have 31?
This is the first thing
Wow.
ever that escaped the vision of Huron.
Yeah,
Wow.
the passive vision of Kieran. Thank
Wow.
you.
What's Huron's passive? 30?
30.
Wow.
My God.
Jeez.
Good God.
I know
Okay.
everything.
As you're approaching the Mind Flayer, you see him like re-propping Douglas up, and you see him like reattaching the head on there.
QQ, what happened to those skeletons of Sarathils? What are they doing?
Well, they're just hanging out unless Sarathil's gonna dismiss them.
No, I'm gonna keep him around now since I don't know anything about this thing.
Okay. I just like to imagine that he's got his skeleton and we got our skeletons. So
Yeah, you guys got 6 skeletons with you.
nice.
He's got 1.
We win the skeleton off.
That he can't even
And-
animate.
Yeah, as you approach, you can see like this skeleton clearly was. I mean, you don't know this, but as players, it's clearly had its brain eaten by Mind Flayer. It has a very precise bite, like cracked open hole in the back of its head, and it looks like a really, really old skeleton. As Callisto kind of props him up and gets the head back on and re-puts the blanket over him. There, Douglas. It'll get cold down here. Let's see. What does old Callisto have for his guests? You see he goes over to these like shelves carved into the rock. And there's just jars of the grossest looking fluids in there. And all of them are like at the end of their supply.
Ooh,
Callisto, we're fine on the food. We're more here to digest any information you might have for us.
As you were saying that, you can see that he has telekinetically opened one of the jars and started pouring it into a bowl. You can see this necrotic flesh, like absolutely rotted away brain matter that he's pouring into this bowl. You can see sort of chunks of gray matter in this black soup.
How does it smell?
Good soup. Horrifying. Everyone needs to give me con saving throws. It's rotten flesh.
Oh, this is appropriate. Natural one.
14.
14.
Dirty 20.
You're all. It's rough, but you hold your stomach in. Timber, that's some awful stuff. You wretch. You see Callisto is like, are you certain you don't want any? And he kind of like gestures the bowl towards you. You can see the gray matter wiggling in the black ichor, the black soup.
I have a weak stomach. I have special food.
My
You s-
culture doesn't allow me to partake in the flesh of living creatures, but thank you.
Interesting. Can you tell me more about your culture? As you see, he slowly lifts the bowl up and just see the tentacles all wrap around it. And it like almost disappears underneath as you can hear the soft slurping of brain into a small beaked tentacle mouth.
Elysian elves, we come from the region of Elysia. Are you familiar at all with the surface world?
surface.
That which is above this?
I have not ventured that way.
Oh, it's quite lovely to see the sky and the stars at night, the sun as it travels across the sky. But my people, we're from the surface world. We live in an eternal darkness, not quite like you have down here. And we believe in the sanctity of all life, and that all living things should be left to follow their path, and we should not consume of the flesh of them. And I see that you have different outlooks on life, and that's okay. And that's what differences make us better together. I've shared some of what my people are like. Please, Callisto, if you could tell me more about this empire you spoke of.
Yes, how did you get away from the hive mind, too? That you mentioned.
You can see that black ichor, black soup, slimely, like, there's a trail from the ball to his tentacles, and there's just sort of black soup all over his tentacles as he pulls it away and rests it against a rock.
I wish Wiswick was here to prestidigitate that away.
Illithids. You mentioned eternal darkness and the twilight skies and the stars of the surface. I remember sailing this astral seas beyond the horizons of your worlds, out in the outside, as we call it. I was sent here as a scout to establish weakness, establish a front, I believe you would call it. I spent many, many, many decades in these caverns, alone with my friend here, Douglas. And
Hello,
when
Douglas.
How rude of you, Douglas. But the trees and the roots, they're digging can't reach us here. Nor the breeze of the sky or the stars above. No, darkness is our home. Darkness is our home. Rejected Callisto did the hive. And they returned. Or rather came. And they wanted nothing to do with Callisto. Dirty, they called me. Wretched. Because I had spent so long with your world and the people of it. I was severed from the mind. And old Callisto was never so alone until I found Douglas, of course. What's left of him, at least. He gestures one hand to the skeleton and then another to the black brain soup.
Yeah. I let him. While he started talking about Illithid, what he was, and about his whole adventure, Sarathil just got his journal and just taking notes. And said, "So you're not of this world? Which world be you from?"
I believe you would call it the outside, beyond. Astral sea, perhaps some call it. But I would say that we were from even further than that. Stumbled upon many things in that outer world. Derelict dead creatures of massive size. Old mad gods. All manner of thing in search for worlds. With minds to consume. And when we find them, we puncture our way in. But the Empire has no need for Callisto, so Callisto has no need for an Empire.
So, the other was not a friend of yours, I take it?
No, none of the Illithid that now call this place home are friends to Callisto. They reject Callisto.
And how many Illithid is that exactly?
Hard to tell without my connection to the mind. But it has been several years since they came and rejected Callisto. On that timeline, there must be an entire hive starting. Clearly, they have started to gather material as he gestures to the completely shredded corpses in the other room. But I have never seen this sort of technique. As he's sort of looking over to the now dormant ichor from these husks. No, we would convert populations to our own. They were powerful enough. Likely what that Illithid would have done with you if you had not killed it. Collected you for indoctrination, assimilation, to create a stronger Illithid.
You can create more of yourselves through creatures like us.
Yes. I have not ventured past this space because I have carved a nice little home for Callisto and Douglas. But beyond that hole in the wall, perhaps there are seramorphic chambers.
How do you decide what is food and what is to be made into a friend? So either clone or eat a brain.
Though the harvest is great when the mind is bold and reeks of life, intelligence. You can see saliva starts to drip from the tentacles. But the most powerful of minds are good hosts for Illithid tadpoles.
Can you eat the brains of other Illithid? I know that's cannibalism.
Wait, I'm sorry. Do you say tadpoles?
Yes. If there are seramorphic chambers beyond that hole, you can see them.
Are we not going to address the fact that a creature like him just killed our friend? Nobody seems to be concerned about it at all. I don't trust this. This sounds way too similar to what the series
You
does.
should not trust me.
I don't.
Unless you can offer me food. I will happily guide you through the tunnels. They can't come near me. My psionic field is up. Unless a stronger Illithid were to come. If we're very quiet.
We have to keep going. Do we have
And
to
what's-
go this way?
What's to stop us from forcing you to help us?
Suppose Callisto has not had a challenge in a while. I don't wish to fight. I wish to stay in my home with Douglas. See the head falls off the skeleton. And you see telekinetically grabs it. Comes to his hand. You see he's holding the skull, and you can really see how big their hands are when it's holding a human skull there. You can see them. One of the fingers is inside the brain matter hole. Isn't it right, Douglas? You see the thumb kind of moves the jaw and it chatters.
Did you kill Douglas?
Only in moments of desperation.
Kieran starts to step back from this creature and goes, I think I'd rather take our chances without your help.
No.
Yes.
Wait.
We do not want Callisto's protection.
Giving I'm gonna do a thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna give a. Never mind. How about this? Our friend here. What if he brings Douglas back for you? Only if you take us through.
Explain.
Well, he's a holy man. He can bring back people who look like that. Timber quickly looks at Kieran and gives him a quick wink. Sleight of hand if you need one. Want to do it?
Yeah, give me a sleight of hand for that.
It's a 37.
The thing is, he has really good passive perception, but not that good. Explain yourself further.
I've
You
seen
can
him.
bring Douglas back.
He good?
What of his
Oh.
brain?
That included?
Well, I think this is the job.
I've seen you do it before.
Yes.
And you have the
He was
resources.
so good at conversations and the poetry he read. Oh, the roots of the trees can't reach us here. It was unfortunate what I had to do to him.
Yes. Well, you
But
could
such
hear.
an
Had to?
intelligence. Such an intelligence.
Or you can hear it again if you help us.
Explain.
What is not currently flesh, he can make whole. I've seen it before.
You see you see the illithid lets go of Douglas's head and it just continues to float around him. And he just floats up and starts moving closer to you, Kieran. You actually kind of see also like its head moves rapidly when it gets closer to you, to Sarathil. And you can just see like that slimy saliva coming down the tentacles as he stares at Sarathil.
We are not food, though.
Oh, robust intellect.
Any attempt to do so, the deal is off, and Douglas does not come back.
I step in front of Sarathil.
Douglas. Callisto means no harm. Tell me more of this magic.
It's divine magic. I am not the expert in it. But I speak on behalf of...
He's like looking at you, Timber, while you're saying this. And up close now you can see like these illithids are quite tall. They're lanky as fuck, but they're very tall to the point when they're standing above you, you can realize that they're like 8 feet tall.
Jeez.
And as you're sitting here, you see he just sort of like quickly turns his body. He's at like an angle like this. Kieran, as you're sitting there, like the face is right here, right in front of you. And you can see the tentacles of the mouth coming up. and getting really close to your face. What sort of magic is this, holy
Well,
man?
I wedged my way between the two of them.
Kieran, pats
You're
her
gonna
like
get-
a
you're gonna get
little
a little bit of,
thanks.
Lithid spittle on you if you do that.
I don't want him near. I don't want him in Kieran's face.
You see, he kind of floats backwards, and there's kind of a, which you like, as you nudge through the tentacles, like you can see them slither across your face, and you get instant flashbacks to your time in the Sirius's court.
See the magic. Yeah. So it's
It brings back all the flesh around the bones. So I would
Yeah.
recommend we keep all the bones for now. And it's hard to explain.
Scarlet,
It's
give me a
the
wisdom
will of
saving throw.
some of the gods.
if Ilyvania wills it, so it shall be done.
And
We
you
know
have
no gods in the Illithid Empire. We only see their corpses in the sea.
well, you are looking at the whisperer of one of the most
Whisperer.
famous gods.
Does your
Above
god
ground.
have any
I don't know about this
poetry?
Poetry. Yes. I mean, my people.
Let's
spend-
start with a poem.
You'd like to hear a poem?
Yes.
Maybe after we
It
travel
is my
a little bit,
measure of intellect.
if
A
we
good
travel.
poem. I like poetry.
And at this, I think for flavor's sake, Kieran will almost humbly, kind of sit back for a second, and he's gonna take off his headband of intellect for a moment, and he's gonna go,
Weird flex.
"Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Wish I may, wish I might. Grant me this wish tonight."
Give me a performance check. You do see that the Illithid is immediately less interested in you when the headband of intellect comes off. Scarlet, you are currently fighting off a panic attack.
So that's a 9.
Can't expect all minds to be as good as Douglas was at poetry.
And Kieran puts the headband back on,
You see kind of flinches at that.
and then he takes it off,
And it looks back to Sarathil.
and then he puts it back on.
Games. What kind of games is this? Holy man.
It's a magical item we found. It seems to boost one's intellect while it's worn. Something you're very hungry for, aren't you?
Interesting.
What if I gave this to Douglas? I feel like he was more charismatic than he was intelligent. Though, I don't know his brain quite like you did. I don't know, I just feel like he was a bard in life.
That's probably true.
With a name like Douglas,
Yep, Douglas the Bard.
100%.
Next town you guys get to, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, do you remember Douglas the Bard? He was so good. And he went on that adventure, and we've never seen him since. He had told the best poems."
Yeah, he was part of the Wayward Four. They didn't make it to the Underdark.
You
Sorry.
you see he telekinetically pulls Douglas's skull over or out of the air and into his hands, and you see he's holding it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just sort of presents Douglas's skull to you.
And Kieran takes off the headband and puts it on Douglas.
You see he immediately pulls it back, and you can see the tentacles now kind of slither across the skull.
Can I reach out and just total reaction, just in an instant, I have a dagger in my hand and just swipe at the tentacles?
Yeah, give me an attack roll.
Oh, damn.
Natural 20. Or 32.
Yeah, you cut off some of these tentacles. And you hear like this. You don't hear a screech come from Douglas. You all feel like a spike hit into your minds, as if Douglas is internally screaming in your minds at the pain of this.
I mean,
As he
Callisto.
Sorry.
Douglas the skeleton.
Douglas, the eyes of the skull light up, and Douglas comes out. He's actually a demi-lich. And you see Douglas kind of reels back. I keep doing it. Callisto reels back.
Douglas is the real character we care about.
No. And he does. You see the tentacles grip around Douglas's skull, though. As you can see, 2 have been cut off, and there's bleeding this purple blood. And you see he's kind of latches at a wall, and you can see now there's these harsh shadows from the fire on him as he's floated up higher out of your range and is clutching at the wall.
What are you
Scarlet,
doing?
easy.
What are you doing? One of his creatures just killed our friend, and you're here playing games with him.
He's not acting like the other one.
I don't care.
He literally just saved us from...
Look at him.
That's...
Oh, I'm looking at him, and then I look at you, and I remember the crimson armor you were wearing one time. Do you remember that, Scarlet? Do you remember when you wore the armor of the enemy? And we didn't kill you. We didn't lash out at you.
You don't
Not
care.
all.
We do. We have to keep moving, though.
So then what are we doing? Why are we still here? Why aren't we moving? Why are we talking to him?
Because he's going to
Because
help
we need
us.
information.
And he's going to help us
You
keep
can clearly
moving.
see that Scarlet is not. This is not her talking in a calm sense.
I'll do it
Look
again.
at me. Scarlet. Would you excuse us? Would you just... And then he kind of goes to wrap his arm around Scarlet. Scarlet, please. I know Wiswick, losing him, it's not... I don't... I failed you all again. Another of our party has gone. We were so lucky to get you back, Scarlet. And that's why I know we'll get Wiswick back too.
That's why we need to get him to his people. That's why we need to keep moving forward and work with this creature. It's our only chance to save Wiswick.
See the tentacles, though.
Right.
Oh, I saw them.
And this is when you would both notice the scars that are on Scarlet's neck that lead up to the back of her neck, where you know there's a parasite, are tentacle marks.
Timber's gonna slowly grab the manacles from his pocket and just say, Scarlet.
No. No. And Kieran just pushes Kaze back and goes, He's not one of them either. He's not like her. It's okay. She can't hurt you here. He won't hurt you either. You don't have to work with him. Keep it, he says to Callisto. And I hope as you eat that, you think of all the brains your people have consumed, all the death. I don't even know if you're capable of emotions. But just know that your people cause suffering and pain. If you're even capable of understanding that, I don't think we want to work with you after all.
You see Callisto is up in the corner, clutching the wall, floating there with Douglas's head in his mouth. You just see those eyes staring at you, and they light up. They've always been glowing this whole time, but they're stark with the harsh shadows of the fire covering him. As you just hear a slight sort of like whining sensation in your heads of just sort of like almost like nails on a chalkboard as he stares at you all quietly up there.
Stop that.
We need to get out of here now.
Come on. And Kieran starts to usher Scarlet, Timber, and Sarathil backing up, never taking his eyes off Callisto.
You see, as you're backing up, Callisto just sort of slowly lets go of the wall, and you can just see him floating there now in front of the fire. There's just this horrible silhouette of this emaciated, floating shadow with the head of Douglas in its mouth. Those eyes, the only discernible feature. Reminding you of how horrible these creatures are, even ones that are, for all intents and purposes, not hostile. To return to the next chamber. Slick with this oily substance and the shredded remains of the husks. The withered body of that Mind Flayer. And Naldo sits there cradling Wiswick still.
Naldo, we need to move.
I'm sorry about that, Scarlet. I didn't realize. That one gets to keep its life. But the rest that we see, the rest of this empire, we must cleanse from the Underdark. Both for the sake of Wiswick and for the sake of our plane itself. We need to figure out just what they're doing with this magic. Kieran says, kind of towing any of the constructs that are still laying around.
It's not safe to be here. That Mind Flayer, Callisto, he could drop that wall again and they
Once you get out.
can pour through.
I think we'll be okay for now.
What makes you say that? He already wants us dead. We just
No.
harmed him.
He wanted to feast, and now he has a headband of intelligence that should keep him fed for some time. I don't think we have to worry about him coming after us.
And you would all even hear at this point, like, he's If you look back, he's not standing there staring at you at all. You would see his back, and you would start to hear him humming a light tune to himself. Douglas.
I don't see any exits other than...
Noldo, which way to Wiswick's home?
You see the head looks up, and you can see kind of coming out of the eyes, it just sort of beams out this scan that hits the whole room and through. And then seems to almost, it's interesting because it like shoots out and covers the whole room and then dissipates like little beams of starlight, like little sparks that then fall to the ground and go out. He lifts an arm, holding Wiswick in the other, slowly bringing him into the harness he's made for, that Timber made for him. And an arm holds up and points towards the hole in the wall where the fog drifts out.
Well, it looks like we're going to the belly of the beast. We might want to take some time to rest before we go in. I think there's a camp atop those stairs we passed by.
Good call.
Maybe some time to rest, collect ourselves, he says, looking towards Scarlet specifically. And then we'll bring Wiswick home. Sound good? And Kieran will lead the party up the stairs to the campsite.
As we're walking, I let go a little bit.
Okay.
You do what?
I let go a little bit, so I don't have to feel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you would feel like last time you did this. That numbing voice in your head. Daughter, you don't need to feel this pain anymore. You don't ever have to feel this pain. Ever again. You feel some of your emotions deaden for the moment. You find the camp, and you're able to organize it a bit, repurpose things. Would you like to spend the evening here? Or are you just doing a short rest?
Well, Kieran, I think we'll start with a short rest and kind of RP if we need to go into a long rest.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess generally just you find this space where it's there's these large echoing caverns, and then there's just sort of these camps that are nestled into a place where some of these old Dwerger ruins are. Sort of you just see these like half walls, very similar to the ruins you see on the battle map. Just sort of vestiges of walls and windows that form this almost right-angled piece of a tower that goes up that the camp is nestled into. Somewhat covered a little bit by rubble. As far as Sphere of Neblin go, you all would probably be a bit more exposed than they would be in this spot, given a lot of your great heights. But for the most part, it's at the very least a safe place to rest.
I can throw up a tiny hut if anyone would like.
I would like that as well.
I think I'll keep watch while you all rest inside if you'd like. Keep an eye out.
Stay up a bit too.
And Kieran will ritual cast Tiny Hut, so after 10 minutes, swoop.
What's everyone doing?
Timbers. Sorry, you go first.
No, you go first.
Oh no, I was just gonna say before Timber's going to rest, but before he does, he's going to go to Wiswick's body and just kind of like make sure he's tight on there. You know, make sure he's had it like put Wiswick's like flasks back in his pocket, from Timber's pocket, and just like make sure he's like clean looking, like his body's just like
Yeah.
and shed another tear while he's doing it, just being all serious, and then go back and just nuzzle
And
down.
you see the entire time the golem is watching you. Noldo's watching you. Dimber.
That is my name.
Thank you.
Someone's got to take care of him.
Master Netherrock admired each of you. He told me so many stories. The marvelous things the Wayward Five have done.
Five. It'll still be 5.
You see a big hand kind of drops on your shoulder. Almost buckles your knees, but you are a good friend.
Doesn't say anything in response to that. Just kind of keeps. Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna go up to Kieran if he's standing watch there. And kind of just saw him and just I could take the watch. I think your friends can use your comfort after what's happened. Sure, this must be hard for you as well.
Yes, well, it's as the fate decided, right? It was Wizik's time to go on his own quest. He's got important work to do for Noldegra, as the gods will it. So until then, we'll protect him here. What's left, and we'll go on with our adventure, with our quest. But no, I appreciate it, but I should keep watch. It's, my eyes may be old, and you'd know a thing about old eyes, wouldn't you? But they're still sharp. Can still see much. These dark, foreboding times. Thank you.
Well, I at least leave you, my friends, to help you with the watch. As like the collection of skeletons that were still resurrected were followed us up, and I'll have them like stand like a perimeter around. Actually, more so to like where we came from, looking for like if that Mind Flayer was to come back up or anything else.
Yeah, easily enough.
I'll just find somewhere to sit and just very mechanic-like, just find somewhere to sit down, cross-legged, just staring.
Are you outside the hut?
No, in the hut.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, you could take a long rest if you'd all like. During this watch, is there anything you'd like to do, Kieran? Besides keep watch.
Oh, is there anything Kieran would like to do? So many things. However, I think he just kind of paces back and forth. At times he thinks about casting some spells of communion and falters, because he's communed with his goddess multiple times after the death of a party member, and always seems to go the same way, right? Maybe he just doesn't want to hear the right answer. So no, he doesn't do anything. He keeps his watch. When his 4 hours are up, he does get into the thing and goes, actually, Sarathil, if you don't mind.
Before we do that, though,
Okay.
give me a perception check for your watch.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I think I already used my advantage for the day.
You did.
Still 30.
You spend much of these 4 hours, exactly as you said, pacing and thinking and considering, as your companions drift into their own sleeps, restless as they may be, or numbed as they may be. Occasionally maybe looking over to the golem there, standing sentry over the body of Wiswick. Golem themselves also kind of keeping an eye out. Though the golem got a natural 1. It's too distraught. But with your 30, you notice something. So you're alcoved off quite a distance and up some stairs and up through some tunnels to this campsite. It is nothing but this dim, dusky, dark caverns. And the party behind you, the dim light of your hut. Very noticeably in this deep darkness, you would see by the doorway that leads back to the chamber you were in previously what to you looks like the silhouette of an Elysian woman. Just sort of looking at you and then stepping into that pathway. Glowing moon, like they are violet silhouette with a dim moonlight coming off of them. Probably not like an adult Elysian woman, like a young Elysian child. Maybe 20 years old.
Just standing there?
Yep.
Kieran switches step over to his left hand to lean heavily on it and just raises his hand in greeting.
They raise their hand as well. And then seem to beckon you.
He looks back at the hut with his friends inside and then to Naldo and the skeletons. Strides forward.
It's kind of like they're like across a chasm, so you kind of have to step down some precarious steps and over a little bridge.
The steps of the brave. I'm walking on darkness.
Hell yeah. You float over the chasm. And as you float closer, you see they turn and walk into the passage back to the other chamber.
I follow.
Okay. As you enter into the next chamber, you see the burning out firelight of Callisto's camp and the oddly loud snoring of the Mind Flayer. It kind of sounds weird, kind of just like as the tentacles flap up. Douglas. But this creature, this ghostly woman, child even, stands by the entrance to the hole and then steps in.
Huron pokes his head in and kind of looks around.
Looking in here, what you see is horrible. Whatever this chamber had been turned into. You see these pools of green liquid, and you can see in them hordes of tadpoles swimming in them. And you see up against the wall these made pods where you can see silhouettes of people behind them, inside them. You see these husk corpses are all around. Some of them are just corpses with the dagger in it, like the gnome. Others are absolutely desecrated. You see one that is covered in the ichor, the oily substance, and the wires that were created, and the tubes and the construct parts ripped through the body to the point they come out of the head, and the skull is ripped open and splayed like this, and there's just sort of this fountain of this ichor pouring out. And you see this blessed image walking through this around a corner into the chamber, continuing to beckon you.
Huron starts to follow, and as he does, he's just casually casting Sacred Flame into the pools of tadpoles, just burning them all up.
Absolutely.
Not totally torching the entire place, but, tadpoles and, the occasional, grotesque, monstrosity such as that, he would Sacred Flame as well as he walks through.
Absolutely. And getting close to these creatures, and you can see them under the basking holy light. You could just sort of see the mangled look of the corpses and the way the skin has been dehydrated almost. And you can see the wires in and out of the flesh and the way it's ripped the faces apart. They look like in the Mummy, when you see the Mummy for the first time and its jaw is twisted and whatnot, but the fire burns it away and into holy ash. As you step through, just hearing the slick step of your boots as you round the corner, and the light seems to fade, and you can see the woman. She dissipates. But what you see in this chamber, a creature that suddenly lurches back and looks at you. You see a drake. Wizard, can you describe what Persuader looks like?
You're mixing up the names, but yeah.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, that's the other thing. I looked really quickly. No, can you explain what Mundy looks like?
So you see a drake, that is about medium in size, so it's like size of a person. It has tealish, translucent skin, with little specks of light, reflecting off of it, off of the scales. It has one large horn in the front that is curved, and then another horn directly down the middle, curving the opposite way in the back. It has bright green eyes, and it has a bit of fur that's growing in between some of the scales that's of a greenish hue.
and you'd be able to identify this as a Moonstone Drake. And it is currently pawing, essentially, at one of these Ceramorph pods. Where off of the light coming off of the Drake, you can see an individual squirming inside.
So I forgot to mention, I was gonna say this at the end, but now that we're doing this, Kieran has been attuning to the
Periodic wound closure.
Yeah, period of wound closure that Wiswick gave him so long ago, now that he's no longer a smart boy. So he's just kind of thumbing this as he steps closer, and goes, "What are you doing so far from home, little one?"
It would become calm immediately and staring up at your moon staff. And then would look over and keep pawing at the Ceramorph pod. You can see several dead husks around it and a dead Mind Flayer. And you can see it's wounded. But it is pawing at this chamber.
Easy, little one. It'll be okay. And Kieran wields out his staff, activating the glaive part of it, and swings it around hard, attempting to shatter the container.
You're easily able to, as the holy light of the glaive rips through the Ceramorph pod. You can see this fluid comes pouring out, as Talray, describe what you look like as you pull yourself out of this Ceramorph pod.
Do I have anything on me? Like, am I wearing clothes or?
You're in your everything. You're in your normal gear. It's just all covered in goop.
Oh, okay. So you would see a wood elf, pretty tall in size, a bulky upper body, dissimilar from other wood elves like Velen. Possibly, you see that he's like a little disproportionate, like his upper body is a little stronger. But he has a strange device on his back. When he's crunched over, like coughing him up whatever liquid was in there, and as he stands up, you see that the characteristic antlers that wood elves have in this universe have been severed, and where the little stubs protrude from his forehead, you can see as he's standing up just for a minute a purple ember that's glowing on them before he stands up fully, and then it dims down and you could just see that it's just scorched wood that's coming out of his forehead just a few inches. You can also see that his eyes are much different. They have very similar eyes to that of the creature, the Moonstone Drake, and his skin has instead of the bark skin that you would normally see on some wood elves, it has been replaced with similar scales of that creature. His clothes, he's wearing some armor. He has a lot of weapons strapped around him, including the strange device on his back that might look like... I don't know. Have they ever seen anything like it, Sean? You're muted.
Kieran would not have.
Okay. There's a weird doodad on his back.
Fantastic. Love a weird doodad.
And as he gets up, he starts coughing. Oh. Thank you kindly, stranger.
Of course. Your friend here seemed quite distraught. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine.
Monday here had everything covered, I'm sure.
Monday immediately leaps up onto you, Talray, and starts to lick your face.
Yeah, he's just like, stop it, Monday, that's gross. Get down, heal.
You see the dragon legitimately sits like a dog would next to Talray.
What do I know about Moonstone Drakes?
So given your, if you've been reading the dragon book that you have, you know that they are associated with Glowmung, the Twilight Drake, the little drake. They are rare, very rare. They do not typically bond with any mortals. They're more likely to hide from mortals or disapparate because they are somewhat ethereal in nature. You do know that what you know is that they typically can be found at the roots of the Sinvosi peaks. That's the only place you'll ever really find them. And they've become increasingly more rare over the centuries.
So one would think that they have legends and mythos in Elysian culture.
Yes, they are a good omen in Elysian culture if they find you in the woods. And they don't immediately disappear.
Right. By the Crescent Heart. You must be, of course. I guess there must always be 5. Sorry, I'm Kiran, Kiran Islastane. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. And you are?
My name's, I think, do I know you?
Not yet.
Sorry, I forgot my manners. I'm Talray, Glomoruin. And he will say in Ilyuvanian? What's the language?
Elvish?
Elvish.
Well, whatever. Elysian Elvish.
Elysian Elvish, yeah.
Yeah.
Butchering Elysian Elvish, he says, "Pleased to meet you."
Kiran barks out
He
a
actually says, pleased to...
Meat, as in meat, like the food?
like meat pie. Like, pleased to meat pie you.
Kiran barks out a laugh and goes, yes, the pleasure's all mine, I'm sure. Please, Talway was it?
Yeah?
If we should leave this horrible space, I have some friends I'd very much like for you to meet. And then you can tell us exactly just how you ended up down here in the path, the Wayward Five.
Are we safe down here? Like, should I be on guard?
In the Underdark, I think it's best you're always on guard, yes.
Very well. And he pulls the device out from off of his back and just like flips it around and catches it in both of his hands. And he's holding it like this. And he's just walking with you.
Excellent.
Kiran gives him a side eye as they're walking through, and I imagine he's still just like casually like setting things aflame within, like, even the whole time he was talking, maybe just cantrip after cantrip were going off around him.
Yeah.
You're muted.
If you're doing that, then you would also notice that maybe while you weren't looking, or when he thinks you're not looking, Talray uses a cantrip of his own to clean off some of the gook on him. It just looks like a nice breeze that just blows away some of that guck.
When you cast Sacred Flame, you would notice every now and then Mundi will leap over to the burning fire of the Sacred Flame and like mouth it, like trying to like eat the holy radiant energy.
And just as Kiran was severely depressed, mere moments ago, he now has a huge grin on his face. As you find delight in even the darkest of places.
And that's where we're going to end tonight, folks.
Ah, gross.
Fuck you, Kieran. Fuck you, Stefan.
Gross.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for this very depressing episode of Advantage in Paradise, but mingled with maybe a little. Just as the world dims with the loss of Wiswick's laugh, a new light is born. Equally as gross. Thank you so much, folks. Please hang out and check out some of our other streams this week. We've got another Play in Paradise tomorrow night with Alex and Mike. We've got Relaxing in Paradise on Wednesday, where I'm going to continue painting minis. I actually have some Wood Elf minis that I should probably maybe paint one of them for our good new friend Talray. I'm also going to need to order a Drake mini. I actually have one that I could repaint to look like Mundy. Friday night, Shannon and I are over on Scales Above on the Roll for Damage channel, and then come back for Sunday for the most powerful hour on the internet, the Sean and Shannon Power Hour, where we'll recap tonight's episode and speculate further.
Flower.
The Powerful Hour. But for now, we're going to go ahead and raid one of our friends. Shannon, do we have someone to raid?
Oh, God damn it.
We can raid Diagnosed Matt.
I was just
I'll
gonna
make it
say,
easy for
do
you.
you do Matt or From Afar's is alive?
Oh, From Afar. Let's do From Afar. Let's give
Yeah.
them a little love. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Please go give From Afar our love. Our good friend David Tilstra is over there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight in Paradise. Say goodnight, everybody.
Um...